Hey, what's going on, Cancers? Butch Tarot here. I am going to do your August read. It is for the month of August. It is a general read, so it may not resonate with everyone. It is for your Sun, Moon, Rising, and your Venus. For all you cross watchers, roles can be reversed. Always feel free to comment down below. I'm going to be using the Celtic Tarot for anyone that has been here for a while. They know this is the first deck I've ever used. It was the first one I ever did a reading with, the first one I connected with. Absolutely love this deck. Obviously, this is not the first deck I used because I've ruined a few decks, but the Celtic Tarot is the first deck I used, just not this particular Celtic Tarot one. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let's get it. Universe, what message do we have for Cancers for August 2024? What do we have for Cancers? All right, Cancers. So the first feeling I got right away was I feel like this is someone new coming in. You know, and I feel like with this person, this is someone I feel like is going to be very direct. You know, I see this person coming to you. And I feel like the first feeling you're getting around this person, the first thing you really notice, and it's what I'm seeing, is, I mean, it's kind of a random thing, but I'm just getting eyes, like these kind eyes. Like it's almost like you feel like you can trust this person just by the way they look at you. You know, and I feel like there is some impulsive energy with this person. You know, it starts off with some flirtatious energy, but I mean, I do feel like it is very flirty energy. You know, this person has a hard time not flirting with you. But I feel like this starts off more in a friendship. You know, I feel like this person wants to get to know you better, and they want you to get to know them. You know, we have that Knight of Pentacles, or in this deck is the Knight of Shields. It's that slow and steady energy. You know, taking their time. I mean, this person knows what they want. You know, that ship has come in. And that's you. I mean, they see you, they want you, they go after you. And it's with this person, like I said, when they want something, they go after it. You know, it's a very impulsive energy. I mean, with that Knight of Wands, it's impulsive, but I feel like there is some physical energy there. But don't let the impulsiveness, you know, worry you, because I feel like it's impulsive, but it's controlled impulse. You know what I mean? They see what they want and they're going after it. You know, with that, they've been waiting for someone to come along, someone like you. You know, waiting for that ship to come in with that Three of Pentacles, or that Three of Wands. And then we have the King of Wands as well. You know, when they see what they want, they go after it. I mean, you're not like anyone they've ever met before. And there's just something in them pushing them to go after this, to not let it slip away. You know, so I see this person putting in a lot of work with that Ten of Wands. But don't get it twisted. I don't want you to get it twisted, because I feel like with this person, I mean, we have the King of Cups. So I feel like this person is serious. They're not just going after you out of pure impulse. I mean, I feel like with this person, there's obviously a physical connection, but there's something else. You may want to know what it is. You know, they're going after it, going after you. A lot of fire in this person, but I feel like it's a very balanced, it's a very balanced energy, like not completely ruled by impulse. You know, like I said, with that King of Cups, I feel like this person is emotionally mature, and they're looking for that right person. They want someone that's on the same page, that wants the same things, that, you know, they can build a life with. That's what they're looking for, someone to build a life with. And like I said from the very beginning, very open and honest with this. You know, this person isn't hiding anything from you. I feel like they kind of just put it right out there. And they may be a little more blunt than you're used to, but I feel like that's exactly what this person doesn't want to have, they don't want no regrets with that Five of Swords. They don't want to have any regrets. You know, so that impulsiveness is just them being pulled to you. You know, that it's out of their control, and they're not trying to control it even if they could. You know, this person, I mean, there's so much energy going on between you and this person, and I feel like there's a very strong bond even from the very beginning. And with the Two of Cups, it's like that lifelong bond. Like, this person is looking for a life partner. They're looking for their forever person. You know, they're not looking for a one-night stand. They're not looking for something casual. You know, they're not looking to romp around the sheets, or they're not just looking for that. So I feel like even though there's this impulsiveness to this person and they're being pulled to you, I do feel like that friendship is something that's going to be important to them. You know, and I feel like that's where we establish the trust. That's what, you know, and even though it's a friendship, it starts off in a friendship, I feel like it's very clear very early on with this that there's something more going on between the two of you. But like I said, they're fighting the urge to make this physical because they want to get to know you. They want you to know that you can trust them, and they want to be able to trust you. You know, they want to see what you're made of, and they want to show you what they're made of. You know, very honest and direct, like I said. They just want to know that you're on the same page, and they're not going to rush anything. You know, I don't see this person rushing this at all. You know, I more along the lines of taking their times and enjoying it and savoring it. And like I said, I mean, there's a lot of fire in this person, but I see a lot of water as well. I mean, there's a very balanced energy, like I said, with that equilibrium, that temperance card. You know, very loving energy with this person. They're not afraid to show their emotions. And I feel like a lot of pure fire signs may not be the best at showing emotions, but I feel like this person has that balance. You know, I feel like this person, like, even though it starts off in a friendship, I do see this person wanting to take you on a date. And I feel like they go above and beyond as well. Like, when they take you out, they take you out. You know, when they make plans with you, they make plans with you. I mean, this is not just, let's just go to some fancy dinner and that's it. I feel like there's a lot of thought that goes into it. Like I said, there's a part of them that's trying to impress you a little bit here, but it's also, like I said, they're fighting the urge to be impulsive. You know, they're holding back a little bit because they don't want to come on too strong. they want to get to a place where you feel comfortable with them. And I feel like that's exactly what you get. I feel like you are going to feel comfortable with this person. This person giving you time and energy. I feel like it's really, we have something special happening here. We have the new love. We have the Lover's card. Feeling very comfortable around this person. Like I said, the fact that they're so direct, I feel like it's going to be comforting as well, because you don't have to wonder what's going on in their head. And like I said, that emotional side of this person, that emotional maturity, is them being able to tell you and share with you their feelings. And I feel like it's been a long time, if ever, you've had someone that could open up to you, but also still have that tougher side as well. Like, even the toughest is tough. Even the people that have the biggest walls up and just has this strong character and strong disposition, they want to be soft with someone. And that's what we get. We get the Emperor and the Empress. The nurturer meets the protector. And this is all in one with this person. Like I said, a very protective energy, but also very nurturing. They know how to do both. This is someone that shows up for you, and I feel like you being on the same page with this person, I see a lot of strength in this connection. And it's only getting stronger, like I said, with the new love, and then we have the Lover's card. So I feel like this connection grows deeper and deeper as we go. And I feel like that's the energy they were drawn to. I honestly believe that we're, even in a situation where people say love at first sight, I don't really believe in love at first sight. But before you completely get mad at me, I know a lot of people get mad when I say that. I don't believe in love at first sight. I do believe you can fall in love with someone the first time you meet them. I just believe it's the energy. It has nothing to do with the vision. You can really enjoy someone, the way that somebody looks, and maybe find them really attractive. And I believe that there's a physical attraction at first sight. But I feel like love at first sight is more of an energetic. You're around that person, you feel something. It's like the quote I put up the other day. Your soulmate is a stranger that you recognize. I feel like when you meet someone, even across the room, you can feel their energy. And that's what I feel like people can fall in love with right away. The energy they're getting from that other person. I read this book about auras, and it's so interesting. And I feel like that's what I'm talking about. I feel like it's almost like when you're around that person, you just feel there's something about that person. And like I said in the beginning, is the first impression I'm getting with this person is kind eyes. I feel like that's the first thing you're gonna notice with this person. They just have these eyes that you feel like you can trust the person. And it's like that old saying that eyes are the window to the soul. I feel like with this person, I see a lot of happiness. We have the Sun card, like I said, nurturing energy, protective energy, all in one. And I feel like this person is falling pretty fast and pretty hard, and I feel like you're following suit, because even though I feel like it starts off in a friendship, I feel like that's by design. This person wants to take it slow. They want you to know you can trust them. They want you to feel safe around them. And they want to show you that that's who they are. And they want to get to know you as well, but they were pulled in right away by your energy, and I feel like you weren't too far behind. When you first meet this person, it's just something that's going on. And it'll all become more clear as we move forward here. And I see you have lots of time with this person. Like I said, with that Two of Cups, it's that lifelong bond. I feel like this has nowhere else to go but up. And like I said, a lot of fire in this read. I mean, we have Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. We have some Gemini, some Libra. We have Taurus and Virgo. We are getting some Cancer. A lot of times when I'm doing a reading, I don't mention the sign that I'm doing, because obviously the energy I'm pulling from that sign is more likely the person watching. But in this case, I am getting Cancer and some Pisces as well. But like I said, I feel like first things first. When you meet this person, it may start off like a little bit flirty. It's just, I feel like in the first meeting, the first time they meet you, they really can't hold that back. Even though they're going to try. And as they move on, it's going to be a little bit easier to hold it back and just kind of get their feet under them. They weren't expecting to meet you. And when they did, you kind of caught them off guard. But like I said, I feel like priority is learning about each other first and taking your time. Like this person, I don't get a pushy vibe from this person. I don't feel like they're trying to push any kind of agenda. They're just being themselves. And I feel like you open them up a little more than they normally would be anyway. But what I meant earlier, and I think I told the story a few years ago for story time tonight. Let me tell you again. My grandfather, he was a longshore fisherman. Fished lobster his whole life. Never finished school. I think he quit school in probably elementary school, and went and fished with his father. But he was a big man, like a big man, like probably 6'4", 300 pounds, just a big guy. And he always looked so serious. And I know a lot of people my grandmother says I get that from. I look serious a lot until you get to know me, and then you realize that I just, I'm very. My grandmother used to call it the resting asshole face. It makes for a great poker player. But he just looked always like really grumpy. And he just kind of, just always had this straight face. And, he wasn't much for going out with his friends and stuff. People would talk to him and people respected him. But I remember one night I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and his grandfather was there. And he's like, oh, you're his grandson. And I was like, yeah, that's my grandfather. And he goes, how do you get along with him? I said, great. He's pretty funny. And so I started, when I was telling him about him, like I was describing this person, he's like, who are you talking about? And he goes, that's your grandfather. Like, my grandfather's name was Gerald. He's like, Gerald's your grandfather. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, we're talking about the same person. So I come to realize that in my growing up around my grandfather, he was nothing like that. He wasn't serious. He was always joking. He was always singing a tune or, dancing, grab my grandmother and dancing in the kitchen. Like, he just, very lovable guy. They had 18 kids, which, anyway, that's a lot. I still don't know how she did it, but he loved grandkids. He was always bouncing the kids on his knees. Like, he played Santa Claus at our thing, and just super happy and super, very charismatic. And I never realized until I was talking to my friend's grandfather that people saw him differently. And I realized that my grandfather at home, That was his safe place. He could be who he wanted to be. On the outside world, he always wanted to have this exterior as this tough, this tough guy, this serious guy. And people outside of my house saw him in a different way completely than I saw him. Like, he was a lovable guy. Like I said, always telling jokes and singing songs, but out in the world, he wasn't that way. So that's what I mean by sometimes we find that, you may have a tough exterior. I mean, the toughest people that you think are tougher than anything else, when they're in their own environment, when they're with the person they love, they give a completely different vibe. That's their safe place. Like my grandfather, we just thought him was a big old teddy bear, and the world saw him as just a big old grizzly bear. You know what I mean? Like somebody that you don't want to go anywhere near that guy. That was just the exterior that he had. And after that conversation, I talked to my grandfather one night and I said, "How come people see you that way?" And he's like, "That's the way I want people to see me. Like, I don't let people into my inner circle easily. But when you're in there, you get to see who I am. And I feel safe when I'm at home. I feel like if I act, and I feel like some of it's like toxic masculinity, I guess, because he acted like a tough guy and just had a tough exterior. But, he said, when I'm home in my house with my wife and my kids, I just want to love on them. And he said, it's like when I walk in the door, I feel like I'm in a safe place. Out in the world, you act the way I act, singing songs. And he goes, I've been around fishermen my whole life, and you would get teased for that. They tease you and think you're goofy or whatever. It's just strange how sometimes we see people differently than anybody else sees them. Like I said, I chalk it up to toxic masculinity. He didn't want to be out in the world, showing his soft side. But my grandfather loved music, and he'd sing along with songs. But I remember fishing with him. He wasn't like that. He wasn't. And that's because he had other guys fishing with him maybe or something. But, until I got older, I never saw the side that the world sees my grandfather. Because when I was a kid, I only seen him when he was home. But when I got older, I fished with him a few times. And, just out in the boat with other guys, he didn't say much. He was never mean. He just didn't talk much. He never sang. Didn't listen to music. But when he's home, he always had music going. I don't know. It's a long story. Make a long story short, I feel like sometimes, with him, he just had a safe place with my grandmother and his kids and his home. His home was his castle. Outside the home, he put on a very serious front. He had a hard time letting people in, but he said to my grandmother that when he met my grandmother, he said, she brought it aside of me that I never even knew I had, and I never wanted to hide it when I was around her. I never felt like I had to. And yeah, I know sometimes my stories aren't completely irrelevant, but it made me think of that when I was talking about the protector and the nurturer. Because I remember him as being very tough on the outside, in the outside world, but at home he was very nurturing, very loving. Anyway, with all that being said, be good, take care, stay safe.